another freaking video for these viewers. God, just every day. Hello there. Welcome to another Bro Talk video. I'm just kidding. I love you. I'm just kidding. I enjoy this. This is awesome. But, so let's talk about another topic here today, which is EZL. EZL. Before we do, though, let's go ahead and make sure you guys know there is a giveaway at the end of the video that is related in some fashion to EZL. So if you want to win ice, definitely stay tuned for that. And also, if you guys, while I'm going over the information as far as what is EZL, you want to know what it is yourself and kind of review it, I will leave the link in the description down below for EZL's website. You can go and review the information and see what it's about yourself if you don't want to sit here and listen to me talk. I understand, but I want to say the information is there for you in the description. So here we go. EZL. The easiest way for me to describe what this is before reading off everything here is basically imagine this. When you go on Twitch or you go to a live event for Vainglory and you want to see a tournament, what are you going to see? You're going to see tier 10s and above. You might see a few POA gold slip in there somehow, but for the most part, 99.9% of the time, you're going to see high elo players playing against each other, duking it out for the championships or for any tournament for that matter. The nature of competitive play is only really the top level players get to participate. Well, where does that leave the moderate to low level players, tier 1 to tier 9 bronze? That's the largest group in the Vainglory community, and they're excluded from tournaments simply because they're just not good enough. They don't have the time to practice 10, 24 hours, 50 hours a day, because that's completely possible. Where does that leave you guys? Well, I mean, that leaves you guys nowhere. You can't participate. You're not good enough. You suck. I mean, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, I understand. You know, I feel you guys. You know, there's a lot of time spent doing things in real life, spending time with your family. Super important, even though they take your elo by not playing. And then also there are, you know, jobs that you have to go to pay your bills. You have school. I mean, I remember being in elementary and that addition, that subtraction. Oh, so much homework. But yeah, you feel me? You know, so I've been watching too much of Kraken's. You feel me? Anyways, so we want to talk about EZL and how that bridges that gap. What that does, or what they do, is basically they consolidate all the players, regardless of skill level, and put them into a draft situation. So they'll say, okay, this is an example. So imagine you're playing basketball. You have the top 2 players, and then you have the top, you know, you have the top moderate players, and then you have a top low level players. That makes no sense. But so 2 high level players, 2 moderate level players, and 2 low level players. And then you have 2 captains, and then they pick from that draft. So the amount of skill level is going to be pretty equal. What those captains are in charge of doing is, you know, they can play with that team, or they can just sit back and train that team to become the best team in, you know, the world. And so they have some high level players, they have some moderate level players, and level players on their team that they had to pick from. It's required to pick from that draft group to train. So this consolidates all players of all skill levels. It doesn't matter what your skill level is, they'll train you. That's what it is. This is what this is about. So this basically, it's going to the information as far as the website. I'll give you guys that specifically so that it's no misconstrued information, so you guys are getting confused by me talking about it. Let's go into their website and say exactly what they say. So what is the EZL? From a professional perspective, the EZL is meant to be a global, multi-platform, meaning eventually it's going to branch into other things than just Vainglory. But for now, I think Vainglory is the focal point for developing this platform. So multi-platform opportunity for players of any level of skill and age to compete for recognition and prizes. So it doesn't matter if you're tier 10, it doesn't matter if you're tier 2, you can participate. That's the difference between EZL and tournaments as they are right now for Vainglory. Vainglory, you can participate, but you're going to get eliminated right away because the level of skill between teams are so immense. Whereas EZL, it spreads that skill level across all teams so that all teams are averaged out, and then they can train and develop over a period of time and then compete. It gives low-level players the experience they needed to learn and develop through a captain who has the experience to train them. This is why EZL is amazing. It brings a lot of training, a lot of experience, and a lot of fun socializing for low-level players and even high-level players. So again, let's keep going. The cornerstone of the league is having fun and socializing, right? That's what gaming is about. That's what gaming is about, having fun and socializing with new people. For many younger gamers, parents who view gaming as a waste of time instead of something that should be respected and enjoyed by people of all ages is quite a big struggle. Here at EZL, we attempt to change the perception of gaming to instead be something respected and desired by both players and parents. In conclusion, EZL is a place for gamers to grow, improve, and socialize. So you can develop as a player, growing and improving, and then you can socialize. We're playing with new players each season. It's going to be awesome. At EZL, we will host various games and championships with prizes and opportunities for people to make a name for themselves. So what makes the EZL unique? Here are 3 things that it does. It has drafts, trades, and it's global. So drafts. Captains will scout players and get to draft players to be on their team on draft day. Kind of like what I was talking about with the basketball thing. Trades. Captains are allowed to trade players in a 1-for-1 trade. Now, there are stipulations to that depending on when you can trade, but there are trades allowed. Global. The league will take place in all regions where there are enough players to participate. Obviously, if there's only like 2 players in your region, it's not going to happen. But if there are enough players, it will partake in your region. So who runs the EZL? He says our head of admin is Skills for Kills. He's a phenomenal person. According to this website, he is friendly and personable. So, it's obviously fact. So don't be afraid to message him on Discord or band. All kidding aside, the guy is an amazing person, and he's always has an open door policy. So definitely reach out to him if you need his help. But it's comprised of many departments and names, and all these people are amazing. I don't want to read them all off because it's gonna take a little while. But I definitely give the props off to every single person in this platform to make this amazing project happen. But let's go ahead and go into the season breakdown real quick. So it's comprised of multiple segments as far as how the season works. So you have 1 to 2 preseason weeks. So you have 1 to 2 weeks of preseason where you build synergy with your team and practice for regular season. So before the season actually starts, you have preseason where you've already drafted your players and you're now developing the synergy and the experience you need within that team. That team's going to comprise of some low-level players, some high-level, and some moderate-level players. It's going to consolidate them, and then you as a captain, or whoever is going to be the designated captain, will train that team to become the best team in the world. And then we have 4 to 6 weeks of regular season. So matches will be assigned at random. Standings will follow a score where every game will be counted, and the seeding for playoffs is determined by wins and losses. Obviously, that's the most common way to determine who goes to the playoffs, wins and losses. 1 to 2 weeks of playoffs. So after the regular season is over, then you have 1 to 2 weeks of playoffs. That's where the top teams go against each other. At the end of the regular season, all teams will clash it out in the playoffs for a chance to enter and win the EZL Championship and receive top-notch prizes. Playoffs will be single elimination, and each match is a best of 3. So once you lose, you're done. Out of 3 matches, you have to win 2 of them. The first and third game draft order will be decided by the higher seed of the regular season. 1 to 2 weeks of postseason. So after playoffs, you have 1 to 2 weeks of postseason. This is after everything kind of subsides. During the postseason, all-star games will be played where all participants and fans will vote for the most wanted players on the website. So this can be top-level players, this can be low-level players, whatever it may be. It's up to vote for the viewers and the participants themselves. Each subdivision of the league will play against the other. This is also where top 8 captains get to stay for next season, and the others are removed but are able to apply again if wanted. So after every season, the top 8 captains, meaning the top teams, their captains get to stay and train the next team for the next season. And then also there's other captains that can apply to be captains themselves. There's going to be more than 8 teams, but the top 8 teams, their captains have a guaranteed spot to stay. So top 8 captains get to stay for next season, and the others are removed but are able to apply again if wanted. Postseasons is where captains begin scouting the draft pool for the second season, so it starts all over again. So every season, it's going to be a different team that captain's going to train. Again, they're going to pull from a group of people who are averaging between high to even low-level players. And it's completely fair because each captain gets a draft. And eventually they get down to obviously it's going to always be the low-level players, in most cases last, but they are going to be able to pick from them too. And so each team has to pick, a range of levels of skill for their team. It's not just one team gets to draft all the high levels and the other team's left with like moderate to low. They have to draft one by one, and so there you go. So team information. So on draft day, captains draft 5 players from the pool of applicants. And again, guys, if you guys want to just review this yourself, it is in the description down below, the website for EZL. So definitely refer to that if you are interested. I think a lot of you guys are going to be, because I know a lot of you guys haven't been able to participate in tournaments like you have wanted to, at least as regularly as you wanted to, and that's why EZL is amazing. So definitely check out the website in the description. Drafts will be in a serpentine fashion. Serpentine fashion is where a random order will be given to the captains a day or 2 before the draft. They will make the first round pick, 1 to 32, then go back 32 to 1, and then 1 to 32, 30 to 1, etc. Captains are in charge of scheduling players for matches according to match schedules and player availability, which that would be given to them during that time. The captain does not have to be part of the team playing. So the captain has the decision to play or just train the team and not play. Or both. He can train and play. While the captain has complete control over his team, kicking a member is not allowed. Once you have your members picked, once you draft, those drafts are final except for one stipulation. So all picks are final and players may not be replaced with anyone outside the team, except in the case of a player breaking a rule, which will result in the player being removed from the league or moved by trade. 1 trade per team is allowed during the preseason and 1 before the midpoint of the regular season. Teams made in EZL will be kept only on the website and not in-game. So everything's going to be accounted for on the website. The in-game teams that you guys have are your own teams. That's separate. That has nothing to do with EZL. Everything as far as what your team is, how your team's performing, so on and so forth, that's going to be hosted on the website itself, not in-game. Let's see. 1 trade per team is allowed. We already did that. Teams made. Okay, your in-game teams will remain as you wish. Teams are reset at the end of every season. So again, after the end of... So for instance, you start off with the first season. Team captains picks his team. They draft. They train those first 2 weeks. Then they go into the actual season. Then they go into playoffs. And then that's the end, right? Well, what happens is that once the new season starts, the top 8 captains and then the captains who applied and got accepted will pick new teams and train new teams for the next season. So it's kind of interesting. Before, how it works in tournaments is you have your team, basically your friends, and you go in to participate together. Whereas this, you enter yourself into a draft and people can pick you. And then you go into a team, and that team is going to be different every season for the most part. Unless you coincidentally get into like the same team as somebody else that was in your team before, which is going to be pretty rare. To participate, you must have the qualifications to play draft pick. So that doesn't mean like in single solo queue you have to be tier 7 to get draft pick. That's irrelevant. It's talking about private matches where you have private draft. The only qualification that's required is you have to have X amount of heroes. I don't know that a number anymore. I forgot. I haven't even had to know that ever because I've always had enough heroes. But I think it's like 10 heroes. Because you have 2 bands, and then you have 3, so 5, 6, 7. You need to have 8 heroes, I think. I think 8 heroes is required. I think. But yeah, anyways, so as far as anything else, it's kind of the game match information. You guys can go ahead and refer to that yourself, but that is the general idea of what EZL is. As far as prizes, it's going to be initially, if it's 8 teams to participate, it's going to be 4,500 ice prize pool. 16 teams, it's going to be 7,200 ice, and 32 teams, if they participate, it's going to be 9,000 ice prize pool. Now, I'm going to assume that for now, this is the prize pool, but as the platform, as the event starts to develop itself and EZL becomes a bigger thing in the community, which I completely think it's going to be, it's going to be probably a bigger prize pool. For now, this is the standard to start off type of prize pool. So at some point, we may even see, you know, actual money being given to the teams, which would be really cool. And keep in mind, this entire event, this project, if you will, is being backed by a lot of big names in the community. So you have Gangstars behind it. You have, you know, myself. You have a lot of content creators, like I think Commander Alex is involved. You have, I believe Lady Wabish was part of it. Yeah, I think so. I think I remember her seeing the notifications she was brought in. But yeah, this is a lot of big names coming to support this because it's a big push for the community, not just top level players, but getting everybody involved in the competitive scene and being able to socialize with new players and gain experience at an exponential rate because you're training with high level, moderate level, and, you know, even people of your own skill tier. Being able to train with those people is going to expedite your experience, and it's going to be awesome. So it's just, as a whole, it's developing the community, and it's a great project. It's a great event for a lot of you guys who want to be part of the Vainglory community in a broader mindset, and it's going to be awesome. So to review, let's go ahead and just go over our last few PowerPoints here, or key points. Each season lasts around 3 months, so it's kind of like revolves around the seasons of Vainglory. Captains choose 5 people from a pool of players. Players' picks are final except for rare situations, i.e. they break the rules. Teams are ranked by wins and losses. That's pretty standard. 1 trade is allowed in the preseason, so before the actual season starts. So during the time where you're training, you're allowed to trade one person. One person. That's it. That was a horrible explanation. You're able to trade 1 person during the preseason, in which that's the segment where you're training. Then you're allowed to trade 1 person before the midpoint of the regular season. So before the midpoint of where you're actually competing, you can trade 1 player. Teams reset at the end of each season. So after the end of every event, teams will be reset, they'll be released, and then captains will repick their teams through a draft again. Those captains in most situations will not have the same team each season. Everyone is allowed to reapply, including captains, but excluding the top 8 captains because they don't need to. They're already eligible to have their spot secured because they're the top 8 captains. Toxicity is not allowed. So in a sense, when I think of the top 8 captains, it's kind of like where I don't watch the show because I'm super manly, but Dancing with the Stars, because I know everything about it. But anyways, I don't. I do watch it though. It's kind of fun. But so top 8 captains, basically it's like Dancing with the Stars. You have the coaches, and they're generally the same coaches every season, give or take a few differences. And they train a new person to get better at dancing. Well, this is the same concept. You have the top 8 captains of last season, and then those who apply to where you get to about maybe 32 teams, so 32 captains. And those people pick from drafts, getting players, and then they train that team the next season. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. And then finally, a few words from Skills for Kills to kind of close off this EZL thing. Here at the EZL, we want people to participate and have fun. So be sure to get involved with the community to make the league friendly and available to all. This league is made by the community, for the community, and run by the community, which is completely true. The EZL Discord is full of a bunch of members from the community. Like I said, there's a lot of big names, a lot of people who you don't even know who are getting themselves involved in this project, and it's going to be a phenomenal experience for a lot of you players who want to be involved. So yeah, and we are very open to suggestions, advice, and change. So they're going to develop and adapt the platform, the project, in the mindset of appealing to the community. They want the community to be a part of it, to be a part of the growth and development of EZL, not just be participating in it, but also gearing change for it for the better. So yeah. And again, if you have any other questions or suggestions, please don't be afraid please don't be afraid to email us. You can also message us on Discord and Band. And then I'll provide the links as well for EZL. So it'll be like the Twitter, the Twitch, the Mobcrush, and the YouTube links in the description down below for you guys if you guys are interested. And also the website itself too. So there we go. That is EZL in a nutshell. I think it's going to be an amazing experience for a lot of you guys. I think it's going to be an amazing event for seasons to come. And again, I am super excited about it. I really want to get you guys informed as far as what it is. So there we go. So now, I know a lot of you guys want to know this. There is a giveaway. So the giveaway basically entails, it's kind of like the transition from 2016 to 2017 for me. And I want to give a giveaway for you guys. And what we're going to do is we're going to have it to where, obviously, the standard, follow me on Twitter, retweet the tweet. But at the same time, I want to support EZL a bit more too. So I'm funding the giveaway. But if you follow EZL on their Twitter, you get an extra chance to win the 1,000 Ice. It's 5 lucky winners on the 6th of January, 2017. So yeah, you get an extra nudge of having a chance to win by following EZL on Twitter. Show the love and support for these guys because they're putting a lot of work and dedication into this, and it's the least I can do for them. So definitely check it out. Check out the website, check out their Twitter. Please follow because they're amazing people, and I will see you guys tonight in a video, I guess. Bye.